The Philadelphia Phillies did better. A three-team trade to acquire José Alvarado, who at one point was the most unhittable left-handed reliever in baseball. Not the same results in 2020. It's a three-team deal. This is a guy that can throw a sinker 97 miles an hour. You see who's involved. The Dodgers, always making deals. Garrett Clevenger, E.A. Clevenger, goes to the Dodgers. The Rays get Dylan Paulson and a player to be named later, or Cash. José Alvarado is a special talent, and the Phillies need to acquire a lot of special talent to help one of the worst bullpens ever, and the worst bullpen in 90 years, a 7.06 ERA. José Alvarado, Dan, owns the most dominant, incredible pitch I've ever seen in the 12 years of MLB Network. José Alvarado in 2019, back in April, was facing Charlie Blackmon. Watch this 99-mile-an-hour sinker. How did it do that, Dan? How did it move that much going 99 miles an hour?
Greg, I don't know. And with the exception of maybe a John Franco in his heyday, that kind of movement, but John Franco was throwing mid to upper 80s. What he was able to do there in a 2-month stretch, without a doubt, he was the best relief pitcher on the planet in April and May of 2019. He could tell you he was throwing that pitch,
right,
and you couldn't hit it. We look at, you and I talk about Zach Britton having that powerhouse bowling ball sinker. This guy's is better. The problem is he throws so hard and so much movement that the inability at times to throw the ball in the strike zone.
Right.
And that's what he has to harness. So if you're the Phillies, you're taking a flyer on a guy that if they could find the key to get him to throw the ball into the strike zone early on in a bat, and then you're going to see swings like this. He throws 97 to 100, and he has a good breaking ball to go along with it. The key is to throw enough strikes early so that that plate, it just gets wider and wider and wider. You cannot cover both sides of the plate off of this guy.
No. 29 other teams have better bullpens than the Philadelphia Phillies in 2020. They need to improve that. This will help them do that. Leads to my next question for you. There are plenty of talented relievers out there in free agency if the Phillies and Dave Dombrowski want to spend money in that direction. Chances are they can't get the headline relievers and JT Realmuto because JT wants so much money. JT Realmuto, 29 years old, goes with our theme of number 29 on this day. If you can only have one or the other, bringing back JT Realmuto, and you do not invest heavily in bullpen arms, maybe you add one more, or you do not bring back JT Realmuto, and you sign 3 or possibly 4 more relievers to go to your bullpen, which one do you do?
Every day of the week, I'm bringing back Realmuto because I think we've seen bullpens on the fly can be made. The Rays are a perfect example. I really think if Joe Girardi had to do it all over again, he could take the same cast of characters, and they could not possibly have been as bad as they were in 2020. You could almost take an entire bullpen and tell the opposing team what's coming and not have an ERA over 7. I think Realmuto is a key to where the Philadelphia Phillies are going. They gave up a lot to acquire him, and I think an everyday catcher, he adds so much to it. There are a lot of arms. Bullpens are cluttered with 95 and above. You can find those guys.
Yeah, but track record matters. I know the Phillies had a lot of velocity, but they didn't have necessarily a lot of track record. If you go get Liam Hendricks as your closer, you pay him handsomely. You get Archie Bradley to be the setup guy. You just got Alvarado. Doesn't that solve so many of Joe Girardi's problems?
No, I think if you want to go at recency and track record, look what the Colorado Rockies tried to do a couple of off seasons ago. They went out and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to attack the free agent market with relievers. What happened? They got stuck with 3 relievers that they couldn't get rid of last year, right? And so it's a fine line. And I've changed my tune on this, and basically because the relief market, Greg, is too volatile to me. There are only so many Mariano Rivera's, Dennis Eckersleys, Trevor Hoffmans that you can depend on year after year after year. And there are too many teams that remake their bullpens on the fly. If I'm the Phillies, I try to go a different route, keep Realmuto.
So what you're saying is their strength in the best division in baseball last year was having the best catcher in the game in JT Realmuto.
No, their strength last year was their everyday lineup was good enough. the free fall of the Phillies, their bullpen took them out of elimination.
But when it comes to this question, I'm saying Realmuto or a revamped bullpen. Realmuto was a strength for the Philadelphia Phillies. In terms of catching in the NL East, they had the best catcher in the division. What you're saying is keep this strength, because if you let him walk, you have a liability behind the plate now. It's not a strength anymore. You just took a strength into a weakness. And you still can't guarantee that spending money in the bullpen is going to make the bullpen of the Phillies a strength.
I keep Realmuto and try to build this bullpen on the fly. Step one was today acquiring Alvarado. They'll try to figure that out.
Is he a closer for them?
Yes, he's going to have to be.
He's going to have to be their closer.
He's going to have to be. If he's right in throwing strikes, he'll be their best reliever.
Okay, so let's just say they only sign one. Let's say they keep Realmuto and you can sign one reliever.
They won't go after Liam Hendricks because I think they acquired Alvarado for that, to close games.
Okay,
there are enough free agent relievers out there to take a flyer on. Maybe a guy like Trevor Rosenthal, right? Less expensive.
Okay. All right, Mr. Philly here. One of his, how many teams you play for?
6.
6 teams. 7 if you count MLB Network.
Right.